and Crystal Barham is here, and she's the director of the other local team, Free to Fly. There's Crystal. And yeah, so we meet on the second Tuesday of every month, and I was telling Shelley, last month we had Holly, this month we have Shelley Clay. I'm just going to stop having team meetings. We're pretty much done. That's it. So we can't go. There's nowhere to go from here. Because I'm going to be a massive disappointment compared to anything else. But thank you for buzzing me. But I'm nervous. I don't know exactly why. It's just, Shelley Clay is here from Haiti in Orlando, and she was willing to give up time from her vacation with her kids to be with us. And I'm just, I kept pinching myself all this week thinking, there's a meeting on Tuesday with Shelley Clay. Shelley Clay's coming. She's coming. Shelley Clay is going to be here. Oh my gosh. And she's here. And I'm just really thankful. So can we give a round of applause for that? Because I just think it's wonderful and such a gift. Usually I'm a fairly articulate person. Some might even say I'm pretty good with words, and I was an English teacher, and I like language and communication. But I'll never forget, and Shelley may or may not remember this because I hope she forgot. The first time I met her, I had been a CE for almost just over a year, and I had the chance to go to Haiti, and that was 2 years ago. And when you meet somebody that you really, really admire, and you just, right now, my mouth is going dry, it just you get, even the most articulate person just becomes and that's what I did. I said to her, I'll never forget, I said, I say your name all the time. And she's like, okay. Because I said her name all the time at parties, and she was that's probably thinking, that's so weird, who is this girl, why is she, because I would tell her story over and over, and I've told the story, I could tell it right now, and, in my sleep, I could tell, Shelley Clay, in 2007, a woman named Shelley Clay went to Haiti to adopt a child, and it's so much better when Shelley tells it. And the first time, so after that awkward thing, I really didn't talk to her the rest of the vision trip because I felt so dumb and I was so intimidated. But I'll never forget that night, we had just arrived and she came by the house. And that's why it was so surprising and I was completely taken off guard because she just showed up. There she was. We were eating dinner. And then she was sitting at the dinner table with us. And she just started talking. And it was she's the kind of person that when she starts to talk, you just want to lean in and hear every single word that she has to say. And I remember getting, we were 30 minutes in, she was still talking, and I was just I should have been recording this. It was everything that she was saying was just punching me in the heart, and I could just feel, even, then, 2 years ago, just the fire starting to burn. And because everything that she says is so real and just what we need to hear, because we are partners with Shelley. And, she's on the ground, she's living a completely different life than we are in Haiti, but she couldn't do what she does if we didn't do what we do. And it's just, it's so incredible. And I love the partnership that we have. And I know that you're just going to get punched in the heart over and over again tonight hearing from Shelley. Because everything she says, you just want to lean in and listen. So hopefully I'm not quite as spazzy as I was that first time. But I'm just thankful that she's here tonight. And let's welcome Shelley Clay. Thanks. Now I'm sweating. Okay, you can flip this to you and put it in your pocket or whatever you want to do.
You got me nervous.
I know. Sorry. Just let it build up. Okay. You got cracker plates.
I know. I'm all prepared.
Okay.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Can you all hear me? Is the song good? Yeah? Okay. My purpose of being here is primarily just to thank you for what you do, to be a part of the story of redemption that I get to witness every day in Haiti. It's to thank you It's to hopefully inspire you. It's to hopefully give you more tools that you can go home and you can sell more. Because every time that you sell, you're changing a life. And so, so that's my purpose for being here today. And just I have so many great friends that I've made already through the Trades of Hope community. I was able to go to Guatemala with Trades of Hope last year, just as a guest and just to have fun. And I just have gotten to be such great friends with so many Trades of Hope entrepreneurs, and so that's been such a blessing in my life, as I am a bit isolated on an island in the Caribbean most of the time. So, in front of you are some sample pieces. Those are not for sale. You do know that sometimes when you have parties, you give hostess gifts away, and so that is my gift of thank you to you. For what you do for our artisans in Haiti. So whatever is in front of you is a gift to you. And then if you hate what is in front of you and you're like, I don't like that color at all, then there's some extra pieces in the back that when we're done, you can trade it out or whatever. So I won't be offended. So, and now there's a buzz.
I know, they're like, what?
That's how to break the ice. How many were you guys were at the retreat? And when was that? March?
January. Shelley, can you hold the microphone close to your mouth? They're having a hard time hearing you.
Is that better?
I don't know.
It's higher.
Yeah,
Just hold it one time?
yeah, maybe.
No, you can clip it higher in here.
Put it closer to your face.
Is that okay if I just hold it?
Yeah, that's great.
All right, let me know if I drop it or...
Okay, just down.
So, how many people were at the retreat in January? Do you guys mind if I tell my story again? Okay, so many of you guys have heard how I came to be in Haiti, and I just want to quickly go over that story again, just because I think it's important that you guys hear it firsthand, and then you have that story to tell, and know that you're, that you're telling the truth and you're telling a real story when you're at your party. So, like Aaron said, in 2007. I was sitting at home longing for another baby, and I couldn't have a baby because we have infertility issues, and some of you guys may have experienced that, and so I knew that the kind of the devastation and the sadness of that. I wanted to add to my family through adoption, and I'd always thought I was going to have 7 kids, and loved being a mom, and was really sad about not having having what I expected my life to be at that point. So I'm sitting in Canada, I had a baby, a 2-year-old, and was nursing him and in a rocking chair and looking online at adoption options and came upon a little picture of a little brown boy named Woodlson, and he was from Haiti, and I was like, where's Haiti? And it's somewhere in Africa, like by Madagascar or something like that. And so I researched it, and I'm like, wow, that's like super close, I mean, I could go there and check it out. And so that's what I basically decided to do, is go check out an orphanage and see what the story is down there. And so in 2007, in October, I went to Haiti for the first time, and I was scared to death. I wouldn't walk a block without, running back to like the hotel, outside of the hotel. I was afraid that someone was going to kill me at every corner. And, it's just very much what we hear about Haiti in the news and what in some ways it can be, I was very cautious. And so I spent a week in an orphanage, and there was about 40 kids in this orphanage that doesn't exist anymore. But during my week there, I just started asking questions. I'm kind of inquisitive and probably a little nosy. So I started asking the orphanage director about each of the kids there, including the one that I was kind of eyeballing for adoption. And every single child in that orphanage had living parents. And during the course of that week, I would see the moms of these kids come and come over and snuggle them and give them little gifts. They usually give them fruit, because that's what they could afford to give them. And check in on them. And I thought to myself, man, like, what if I had my little Zebedee at the time, who was 2 years old. What if this was me? What if I had to give my child away because I just couldn't feed them? And I just thought, man, my heart was broken for these women who the best thing that they could do for their kid was to give them away. And I felt like adoption is good. but it's still not the best thing, you know? And we need to support and empower women and men to be able to support the children that God gave them before we look at adopting kids who have parents. And I don't know why it seems sort of like kind of like a revolutionary concept at the time, which I think a lot more people are coming around to this idea of development and opportunity for the poor as opposed to just aid and adoption. And at the time, it just seemed like a no-brainer. Well, what can a woman do to support her kid? You know, how much money are we talking about? And I kind of started asking, and it's about $200-300 a month a woman can keep her kids in Haiti. And so 9 months after my first trip to Haiti, I was living there permanently. So I came the summer of 2008. And during those 9 months, I formed a nonprofit called the Parent Project, which maybe some of you guys have heard of. And the goal of the Parent Project was to be able to empower parents to keep their kids.
You gotta be louder.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going to put it right here.
I know.
And so one of the things that I love that happened, and I didn't really plan it this way, but sometimes people get a great idea and they go in and they just try and start doing their great idea. But one of the things that's really important when you're working internationally is to listen and to have that time where you glean and you understand, what's going on. And I think for me, I ended up living in an orphanage for a full year before we launched and started doing more than that. And so during that year, I was able to learn Creole, so that's really good because it's always important to be able to understand people who you're trying to help and ask them questions and get their ideas and input. Then I also just saw the situation over and over and over again of moms coming and knocking on the gate, asking for help. No help is available. Asking for help again. Sorry, we don't do that. We only take children. And then, third or fourth time, they finally are like, fine, that's the only thing I can do, so I'm going to do that. And then handing their kids over. So I would see that that thing happen and play over and over again. And in fact, that's how I got my first adopted son, Jackson. His mom came and abandoned him at an orphanage. She was supposed to come back with some paperwork, and she ended up leaving and never came back. And I saw the scenario unfold of the child being abandoned, and it just broke my heart. But I ended up being able to step in and adopt him, and he's 8 years old now. And, he's great, So watching that situation just gave me so much more information and gave me so much more ideas of what the situation really is and how to best help. And I think that's one thing I really learned is that you really got to take the time to figure out what's going on before you just jump in. And so I'm so grateful for that year. In 2008, I started inviting 4 women over to my house 2 times a week. I didn't know anything about jewelry. I don't really even wear jewelry. I just want you to know I put this on just for tonight. I gotta represent. But I'm just a pretty plain Jane kind of girl, but earrings and bracelets seem like a pretty easy thing to put together, and so we started out going down to the local markets and getting, shells and seeds and things like that and stringing it together, and then I would go on Facebook and tell the story of this woman who's just trying to keep her kid, and do you want to buy this really ugly bracelet for $10 and then she can feed her family. And of course, what did all my friends do? I'll buy it, and so that's kind of how we got started. We quickly realized that that wasn't a sustainable model. If you're going to really be in business that's sustainable, you got to have beautiful things. And so we had to step it up pretty quickly. But thankfully, people were gracious at the beginning, and we still sold some things. I still have some of those original pieces from the beginning, and they're so endearing. I love them so much. It's just a reminder of where we've come from, and in some ways, it's just you like those. I should probably auction them off or something. So we started doing that, and then I was like, man, I should probably learn how to make jewelry or something, something a little bit more complex. And so I kind of got into that, and then just one thing led to another, and then we started learning. We were importing all of our beads, and then we're like, well, can we make beads locally? And yes, there's clay in Haiti, and well, how do we do this? And it just kind of started to unfold as our needs were made known. People would come down and help me, and so we had a team of potters and ceramists come down and then help us with our clay production that started, and then we started making pottery and mugs and a lot of things that we can never export in the same way that we could jewelry, so you might never see that, like especially through Trades of Hope. But it's just been amazing right now. Are you guys familiar with the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children? You heard them? They do rice packets and then send it to kids all over the world. So they started selling our mugs, because the mugs and the ceramic beads, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's made out of the same clay that they make the dirt cookies out of, that the poor eat in Haiti. And so it's so fun to go to the same place where the women are buying the clay to make dirt cookies because they can't afford to eat anything real. And we're going to that same place and buying clay, and we're employing people with that clay so that they can make enough money that they can afford nutritious meals for their kids. So all of these bracelets I have on here, this is all made out of the same clay as the dirt cookies are made of. So that's a great little story if you want to tell it at a party. So Feed My Starving Children, of course, heard that story, and they're like, we're going to sell those mugs because, that's what we do is we're fighting poverty and starvation. And so it just fits in line. And so they're buying our mugs by the thousands per month right now. So that's just been such a blessing, and it's just kept so many people working. So we just started to grow, and we added a few more people, and then an earthquake hit, and we had a house of artisans working during the earthquake. No one who worked with us was injured. That was such a miracle. The earthquake brought all the attention of the world to Haiti, and so in that sense, it gave us a platform. We already had sort of a foundation laid as far as sales go. And so all these celebrities started pouring into Haiti, and so then we became known as being one of the groups down there who's actually trying to create sustainable employment. And so we've had a lot of fun, entertaining and hosting some pretty big names, like Bill Clinton's been there a couple times, Kim Kardashian's actually been there to our place, and Olivia Wilde, and just very interesting life that I never thought that I would ever lead. People, when would I ever get to meet those people, right? So we started to grow, and then Trades of Hope. I met Gretchen just after the earthquake, and Gretchen had been involved in Haiti for years, and so she came over and she was trying to do this new startup thing, and it was just tiny. So in so many ways, Trades of Hope and it was a parent project at the time have really grown together. And I want to highlight the tie that is between Trades of Hope and what we do, and how much what you guys do affects the jobs that are created in Haiti. Because I think that's important. If you really understand that, then what you do becomes so much more significant, But Trades of Hope came to us, and of course, normal business models, you gotta have your wholesale and then your markup and your retail, Like there's a couple, you can't, like the way we were selling things was like, here, buy this bracelet for $10, we'll give you $10 to the artisan. Well, that's not really a sustainable model, right? And so we started exploring what wholesale was, and I had no background in any of this stuff, so I've had to learn as I go. But so it was really our first wholesale account was Trades of Hope, and so we figured out what the price was for each bead, and how much we're going to pay our artisans for each piece, and wanting always to pay enough that they can shelter themselves, feed their kids, and send their kids to school, which is about 3 times the minimum wage in Haiti. If you're getting paid a minimum wage in Haiti, you can't even eat lunch as a family. It's $3.50 a day right now, minimum wage. So if you have a family, there's just no way you're even eating. And so to me, it was like a lot of factories or a lot of businesses, like, wouldn't you pay the lowest you can possibly pay? I'm like, well, if a woman is still having to go to an orphanage to give her kids away when she's working for me, then why am I even here, And so to me, it's always been just a line that I won't cross, that they have to get paid enough to meet those basic needs. And it's been, I think, because of the message and the spirit behind what we do, it's been successful regardless of the fact that we're not as competitive with other companies that could do things a lot cheaper because of their wages. So Trades of Hope came alongside of us and started buying a couple pieces, and like 50 bracelets or something like that, when they first started. And because of the model that Trades of Hope is, which is an exponential model, right? Like it just grows and grows and grows. Because every time you sign people up, they sign people up, everybody's multiplying. And the thing is that when you multiply yourselves, you're actually creating another job in Haiti. So when you're signing up people under you, like literally, there's 70 people in this room, you probably represent 70 jobs easily in Haiti. And if you guys all went home and signed 2 people up underneath you, and you had 140 more people, now all of a sudden we have 210 jobs in Haiti. Do you know what I'm saying? It's real. Because the volume that you guys can sell can sustain a mom in Haiti to keep her kids. And so I really want for you guys to understand that it's not just about selling, but just duplicating yourself. Because the more you can duplicate yourself, you've got an army of people here, creating an army of empowered moms in Haiti. And so that's been really exciting. Now, I'm not really a business person at all. I've learned everything I've learned down in Haiti. I majored in German in college. Really helpful. And so literally everything I've learned, I've just learned by doing it. And so the whole sort of like, what do you call it?
Home parties?
Home party model, yeah. I just kind of, I'm not a salesperson. How many in here don't feel like they're salespeople? Like, do we really love pushing products on people that don't want to have, you know what I mean? It's hard, right? And you guys are my heroes for it, because it's really hard to sell things. It's really hard to feel like you're always putting yourself out there, and you're risking so much rejection constantly for maybe, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are pretty amazing, because I don't know if I could do that. So I didn't have a lot of faith in that model, because I'm like, I would really not do well at that model, but then I'm starting to watch it happen. And I'm watching trades of hope double and triple and like grow at 300% or something every year. Like, what? And then I'm watching my orders increase and increase and increase to where now Trades of Hope is like 30% of our workforce down there. We ended up not breaking off, but separating from a parent project in the sense that we had to establish ourselves as a real business in Haiti, and so that's what it's called, Papillon Enterprise. It's pronounced papillon, which is a French word for butterfly. Butterflies. I love butterflies because there's a transformation involved with butterflies, right? It starts out as a little worm and then a caterpillar and then turns into something beautiful. And I feel like some of you guys who heard what I talked about at the retreat maybe know that like my life hasn't always been so pretty, and so I feel like I'm always being transformed. I feel like our artisans' lives are always being transformed, and probably, if we're all honest, we all have things in our life that we're being transformed from, and hopefully becoming more beautiful because of what we're doing through Trades of Hope, what we're able to do, because of the things that God has laid on our hearts, So I opened the business as Papillon Enterprise, and then it gradually made sort of a distinction. It became a self-sustaining functional business, Haitian company called Papillon Enterprise. The parent project is run independently. A lot of people get us all confused, and that's okay. It doesn't really matter. We work very closely together with the parent project. The parent project is still involved in our daycare. They fund our daycare, so all of our moms have the ability to leave their kids in the daycare. Which is really important if you're a new mom. How many of you guys know how hard it is to leave your babies, right? So to be able to bring your babies with you to work and drop down and nurse during your break and lunch times, it's just, it's so great. And it safeguards those kids too. So we have that. We have our computer training center there that a parent project funds, and that's teaching our artisans higher level skills, computer skills, Word, Excel, things like that. And then what else does the parent project do? They do all the development, and if there's a need to bring people down to teach new skills, they'll kind of fund that, because it's hard on our business to always be funding itself in that way. So we work together really well, but just so you know the difference between the two. So we separated out from a parent project, became a wholesale, basically manufacturer of artisan goods. We're right now working on our fair trade certification, which hopefully will come through this year. And I really dug my heels in on that a little bit because I didn't feel like it was super necessary. And I feel like we're so, what we offer to artisans is beyond and above what is mandated by fair trade. So I kind of always felt like, well, I don't really need that, but I also realize that it's gonna open up a lot of doors for sales for us if we have that certification, and it'll probably help you guys, right? Once we get certified, and I think Trades of Hope might be going through that certification as well, so that when you get those questions at your parties about, you know, the authenticity and the integrity of the products and that kind of stuff, that you can stand by it and know that it is made with all the fair trade standards in mind. So yeah, we became a manufacturing company, and then Trades of Hope starts growing, and we're growing, and Trades of Hope's growing, and we're growing, and all of a sudden I just kind of had this aha moment, you know, pretty much last year when I went to Guatemala, and I'm watching all of, it was like the top CEs were on this trip, and I was watching what they're capable of, and watching where Trades of Hope was going and the growth there, and it just was like, uh-oh, I better get on board here. Like, I better start paying attention to what is going on here, because whatever Trades of Hope does is a direct impact on what's going on with us in Haiti. And so I've always been so grateful for Trades of Hope, for Gretchen and Holly, and their heart, because I work with a lot of other buyers who they want like the fair trade company as a business. They want to pay as little as possible and sell for as much as possible. They're normal business people, right? But it's really hard on us, because it's like when you're always pushing price points down, and they don't realize that the things they're dealing with, like the electricity's out today, or, you know, we got robbed last night, or, you know what I mean? Just like there's just constant things that you don't have to deal with in the States. And so to put constant price pressure on us, it's just discouraging, especially when we see them, on the other hand, you know, trumpeting how good that they're being and how much they're helping in the world by all these things that they're doing. And so that can be discouraging. And so we do deal with some companies like that. I can assure you, Trades of Hope is not one of them. They are, hands down, you know, one of the best companies we've ever worked with. They pay on time. Do you know how hard it is to get paid something like on time? You know, like when we sell stuff, when we send stuff out, just to get paid like immediately, so that we can pay our artisans immediately. They pay on time. They don't put fresh pressure. They work with us if there's a product that's not working, trying to find new products that are going to work better. I mean, it's kind of like it's like a sisterhood of like, we have the same heart, just kind of two different venues for that same heart. So I want to assure you, from my perspective as the person who is producing, as representing, because you guys have a lot of groups who are producing for you, that Trades of Hope is a great company, and they treat people well, and they treat people fairly. And when you guys are selling, you can stand by that. You can stand by the product. You can stand by the integrity of the organization, knowing that what you're saying it is what it is. And so I want to encourage you to know that. So last December, we get a purchase order from Trades of Hope for $47,000. You know, we started with 4 women. We started out with orders from Trades of Hope of about 50 bracelets, and so last December, $47,000. Okay? And what's it going to be this year? You know what I'm saying? Every time you duplicate yourself, that $47,000 becomes $100,000. And those wages are going to Haiti, supporting moms who don't have any other choice. You guys, it's not like they don't have, it's not like they're like, well, I don't want to work at McDonald's. You know what I mean? There is no job for them. They can carry a basket on their heads and sell avocados at make maybe a couple bucks a day, not even minimum wage. That's their only option. And there's no economy there. Right now, we don't even have a functioning government. The elections didn't go through in January, and they postponed them until next February. They don't have any money to even have the election. And so, there's a vacuum cleaner on.
We don't need anyone.
Someone's being diligent. For most of the people who work at Papillon, they've never had a job before. They've been trained with, you know, everything that they know about a job comes from what we tell them. It's really funny because we have a lot of just, you know, things we know, like don't cuss your boss out. You probably get fired. You know, they don't know that. You know what I mean? So I got cussed out a few times, you know? And I'm like, hey, you probably don't want to talk like that, you know? Just saying. How to use a toilet. You know, you don't think that you're going to be teaching your employees how to use a toilet, but you know, you do when people have never had a toilet before. You know, there's just so many things that we that we just grow up with in our country and in our education system that they don't know. And so we're not just working with people so that they have jobs. We're bringing them into a new level of dignity and of being that is, it's just higher level. It's more dignified, you know, and that's really cool to see. So Shelley, how many of you guys met Shelley or saw Shelley at the retreat? Or is it a retreat? What was it? Okay, yeah. You know, Shelley came to me at 15 years old, living in a tent, you know, and she didn't have even a high school education. Look at her now, you know, she's the operations manager. I'm gone for 8 weeks. She's running everything. She's 21 years old now. I don't think I could have done what she was doing at 21. So it's just so cool to see people become something that they never thought was possible, you know, and it's really cool to be a part of that. And I get to see it with my eyes, and I want through this discussion today that you guys feel and understand that you're such a part of that. So, yeah. There's a couple pictures that Erin left for me up here. This is one of our artisans. Her name is Genia. Have you guys heard of her? Yeah? She's doing great. This little one is much older now. Genia works doing our hand building of our pottery in our pottery section. She started out, I think, rolling beads. Most people start out rolling beads, but she makes these little ceramic crosses now. She's just a beautiful person. She's doing such a great job with her daughter. She's still there, and it's so fun to remember that day when she was knocking at the gate begging because she was holding her baby and she was malnourished. And I said, sometimes I have enough time to do this, and I did it that day, which was okay, because I don't believe everything I hear. That's something you learn really quick. Is, okay, show me where you're living, I'll follow you there. And I followed to the cement house where she was sleeping on the ground in the cement at someone's house that she didn't even really know. And with her baby, and didn't have anywhere to go, anything to do. She was starving. And I'm like, okay, I gotta give you a job, you know. So she started, and she's doing great. And Erin was there that day when she started, and that's really fun because people come back over and over and over again and take her picture because they remember that day when she got hired. And that is a story that's pretty typical. Like when we hire at this point, that's pretty much how it happens. Is there's a whole row full of ladies outside of our Artisan facility all day long, every day. About 10 of them or so, holding their babies with yellow crispy hair because they don't even have enough protein in their diets for their hair to grow normally. And I can't walk across the street without people trying to come up to me and grab me and yelling, Shelley, 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 please. And I have to turn my head away and block my ears because I can't every day hire 10 people. It never ends. I could hire everyone outside one day, there'd be 10 more outside the next day, and 10 more outside the next day. So when you guys sell, when you duplicate yourself, I get to go outside and hire Genia. You know, it really is like that. So I want to encourage you guys that when you're in that mundane, I'm gonna make this call. You know, I have this party, I'm so tired. You know, think about the woman who's been standing outside my gate for 12 hours in the sun with her baby. You know, and not out of guilt, but just because God's empowered you to be in a position where you can speak for them, where you can have an impact. This one is Monette. Monette, she's actually quite close to me because she worked as my housekeeper for about a year while she was pregnant with these two. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know, and I was hesitating whether or not to address this or not because it is a bit controversial and not everybody believes the same about it, but abortion is fairly rampant in Haiti, and it's not the way we think of it. It's this potion medicine that they will drink that basically causes a miscarriage. It's really, really dangerous for the women. Many women die that way. And oftentimes women are put into that situation by their spouses or by their significant others who are just like, no, we're not going to do this. And so he makes her drink this thing that can potentially kill her in an attempt to stop what has started. I think we would all agree, even without discussing the issue of abortion, I think we would all agree that if a mom wants to keep and have a baby, we should empower and support her in that. So Monette had 5 children, and she was pregnant during the earthquake. And when the earthquake happened, her husband said to her, "We are not having this baby." And so she drank the potion and had a miscarriage. So about a year later, 2 years later, we found out she's pregnant, working for me, and we found out she's pregnant again. And she says to me, "My husband's saying no way. I'm gonna have to do this again. I almost died the last time. I was in the hospital and bleeding, and all these things. I don't want to go through that again." And she's a woman of faith too, where she doesn't feel like that's what is right for her. And so she said, "I don't know what to do. He really wants me to end this pregnancy." I said, "Monette," I said, "You're okay. You have a job. We're not going anywhere. You're making more money than you ever imagined that you could make. I said, why don't you just try and keep these kids, keep this baby, we thought at the time." And spoke with the husband a little bit about it, and so they came to the decision that they would go ahead with the pregnancy. Well, these 2. And these 2 are in the daycare right now. Every time I see them, I'm just overjoyed that they get to be here, and that she got to have those babies that she wanted, And you know what? They're doing really well. It's her 6th and 7th child. Thank you. That's her 6th and 7th child. They live in one room, all 8 of them, about 10 by 10 feet. They have 2 double beds in there, and they all pile in the double beds. And she's poor, but she's got a job, and she's got 6 beautiful children. And I see them all the time. They're in school, and they're doing great, and they're happy, And it's just such a cool testimony story every time I see them, of just the hope that someone can have to not do something that would endanger their own bodies and their own lives because of poverty. So, what time is it? Ooh, I talked for a long time. Didn't think I was going to.
Oh, you did good.
I'm always very to the point, and 5 minutes later. So I think that's about all I really wanted to say. Is that okay? And then Erin said I can open up for questions. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just go into that. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
How's the young man who got shot?
Mario?
Yes.
That's a good question. Mario runs our smoothie bar. We have a cafe in Haiti, and he was taking his dad home. His dad flew in. He was bringing his dad home from the airport at Christmas time. I think it was Christmas time. Anyways, someone came up to the window and shot him twice in the face, and he lived, and he has no jaw, and so he's been only able to eat liquids since, and he was supposed to have surgery today to fix his jaw, but we did not have enough funds for that. So we're waiting on the funding for that, and he needs about $10,000 to have a reconstruction of his face. Yeah. So he's getting very skinny. And he's really motivated to tell his story on Facebook right now. If you're friends with him at all, but he's doing great. He just needs to have a surgery. Yeah.
Will you tell them about the cafe and that whole why you built it and kind of the
Why did it?
Because of the way that they were getting lunch and you wanted to create more of a social space.
Yeah, it's kind of evolved a little bit from that, but so we have a boutique in Haiti, so we've kind of become a destination spot. One of the other fun things about what we do there is we're very transparent. Anyone can come at any time and take a tour of the whole facility and see everything and see the boutique and buy locally. And then on top of that, we have a cafe. When we first started, it was pretty much designed to be like a what's the word? Lunch cafeteria for our artisans. It kind of has digressed a little bit into, and what I think is a higher purpose, which is that all of the teams and stuff that are coming through Haiti need a place to eat and drink, and so it's created more jobs in that we have a little restaurant on site now, and so that's really cool, and people really like coming there. We kind of try to keep with the theme of repurposing, so like with the cereal box, and with the clay, we're repurposing everything into something more beautiful. And so the cafe is built entirely out of pallets. So it's kind of fun to, the tables are all pallets and the railing is pallets and then it's all a grass roof So it looks very Caribbean, and yeah, so that's been kind of a fun addition, and it's brought a lot of people down there. I think we have been number one, but I don't know where we are right now on TripAdvisor of places and things to do in Haiti, so that's really fun.
Shelley, how do we tell at parties about things like how are these women protected? I mean, they are now earning the money, and I'm sure that puts them in danger. And so how are they being protected, and some of the things that they're being taught about how to manage their money and things like that?
Well, they don't have a whole lot to manage in terms of like they can pretty much pay for the basics, and that's kind of what the intent is. And women are really good about knowing what's most important. You know, they're going to send their kids to school, and they're going to feed their kids.
Are they being given their like cash money, or do they have a debit card, or because I would think that if they've got cash money, there could be victims.
That's a good question. We did used to pay completely cash, and it was a situation where we were afraid every time we would do payroll that someone would get robbed on the way home. So we met with the bank, and one of the main banks in Haiti, and most people can't open a bank account if they don't have an address and electricity bill and things like that. So we basically vouched for all of them, and we met with the bank and negotiated so that every single one of our artisans could have a bank account. And so now we do direct deposit into the bank account. So they all have debit cards. It's really cute, you know. And then I think a bunch of them applied for credit cards, which everybody goes, oh no, you know. But they're like $100 credit cards or whatever. So, but think about this. You're growing up as a poor Haitian person who has nothing, you know, your whole life. And now all of a sudden you can walk into a restaurant with a debit card or a credit card and pay for your burger. Do you know what that does to your spirit? And the other thing, too, is sometimes I think to myself, well, you know, Americans are really the ones to tell other countries how to manage their own personal debt. You know what I mean? Because we're not in debt at all, are we? You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's like people come in and be like, well, you should teach them all these things that we don't even practice ourselves sometimes. And so sometimes they need to be able to figure those and make those mistakes as well, you know. But we are very aware of not doing something that's going to be detrimental to them as well. Yeah.
Is the count of your artisan, Shelley, still around 300?
It's right at 300 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. The way that we grow is that what we'll do is we'll add a bunch, and kind of everyone kind of goes to sort of part-time, and then when there's like lots and lots of work, because we're very seasonal, obviously we're going to be producing more for Christmas time. It's just kind of like an accordion. So rather than laying off and hiring as needs, we kind of expand, like, oh, now everybody's working 5 days, now everybody's working 3 days. And so we can kind of stay at the same number of artisans and then just bring them all to like 5 days. And then once we run out, then we'll add 100 more or something, and we kind of do the same sort of flexing. So that's kind of how we tend to hire, and so that we don't have to lay people off. Yeah. Yeah.
What is a good response to somebody who might say, well, why don't they just stop having so many kids and then they won't have
That's a
any
good one.
problem? That's like a terrifying question to me that I don't want to answer. So
Yeah, that's such a hard question because for me it's really hurtful. Women don't always have the ability to say no. Women are vulnerable. You guys, we're the most empowered women in the world, North Americans and Europeans. In other cultures, women are not empowered to say no or to have choices that we have. And so I don't get into any kind of judgment on that. I do have some friends that do things like Depo-Provera for women who choose not to want to have children, and that's a safe way that they can give a shot every 3 months and nobody has to know the difference. So that's, we haven't done that ourselves, but there's some ways to address that other people are doing that I think are really commendable. But I could never judge a woman for having 7 kids because I don't know how that came to be and how much choice she had in that. So, of course they understand how babies are made, you know. They do have access to birth control, but it's different. First of all, it's not a time culture. So how many of us have a hard time remembering to take a pill at the same time every day, you know, and then we're like, I forgot, you know, today or whatever. So you get a culture that's not time sensitive, it's going to be a lot harder for them to be regular in taking those things. They can purchase it, but it's it's not necessarily regulated the same way. Maybe it's a counterfeit, maybe, you know what I mean? There could be a lot of reasons why someone gets pregnant when they weren't intending to. And so, for me, I just feel like that's not my business to judge them why they have the children that they do.
You live there, I mean, this is my first meeting, but you live there with your family. How many children do you have?
I have 4. I have 4 kids. My oldest is almost 13. She's a little mini me. And she's super great, creative. She's going to be going into 8th grade. Then I have a very wise 10-year-old boy who knows the answer to everything. And then I have Jackson. So Jackson is my Haitian son. He's 8 years old. He's taller than my 10-year-old. He wears bigger shoes than I do. He's 8. And I think he's going to probably be an NFL player or something. Because, I mean, he's literally like this. He's humongous. He's 138 pounds. He's 8 years old. Yeah, he's a big boy. So I don't know what happened there with the birth parents, but because Haitians are generally pretty short, you know. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So then I have another daughter, so he's 8, and then I have a daughter who's 7, who's only 7 months younger than him, who's 50 pounds. And so she's the baby, and she's also Haitian. And just real quick, my son was abandoned. The mom came in. I saw the whole transaction take place. She left, was supposed to come back, never came back, and he, within 6 weeks, almost died in an orphanage of starvation. And so, having seen that and having met the mom, I felt just so like she trusted that this would be a better place. And I couldn't let him die. I'd seen several babies in that orphanage die that year, and I just couldn't let him die. So took him basically in direct care because I was living at the orphanage in auxiliary house at the time, and took him to a pediatrician, and he was lactose intolerant, and that was it. You know, they give them the formula that they give them, stick bottles in their mouths because they're all lined up, you know, in orphanages, and just weren't paying attention to the fact that he was throwing everything up. And so